another video of the recording, and then we're going to have a little interview. So I'll ask some questions. If you think of questions you want to ask, it'd be very nice to have you say some things too. So let me introduce you. This is Rúnarsdóttir. If you would join us on your camera, we'll get started.
Hi.
Everybody say hello. People online say hello. All right.
Nice to see you.
This is Hildigunnur's Rúnarsdóttir. She's a composer from Iceland, a wonderful composer. We've been looking at one of your pieces, Mrs. Rúnarsdóttir, and enjoying your music. So today we're going to have a little interview. And so first off, what's the weather like right now in Iceland, 5 hours from us across the ocean?
Wet and fairly cold.
She's 5 hours away across the ocean. We spoke with Gordon Thornett last week, and Gordon showed us some maps so they can pretty much imagine sort of where you are, because Iceland's just north of England quite a ways, but still out quite a ways across the ocean from us. So do you have any questions right off the bat that you'd want to ask? Yes? You got something you want to say? Go ahead. Hazel would like to know what made you decide to be a composer?
It sort of basically happened. It was quite funny because I didn't know I studied the universities learning English actually, but then I didn't quite like all the well, it was just everybody there was basically wanted to be an English teacher in high school, and I didn't want at that time to be an English teacher in high school. So I went to the university, music university or arts university, and I basically meant to be a sort of musicologist, somebody who studies music and how it's put together, but then I took some composing classes, and I realized that I really liked it, and I had sort of a flair for it. So that's how that happened. And but please just say Hildigunnur or Hildi, because we don't really go by last names in Iceland. Don't say Mrs. Rúnarsdóttir, because that I don't.
So Rúnarsdóttir, I shouldn't call you Mrs. Rúnarsdóttir. Is that what you're saying? Oh, just Hildigunnur then.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that's news to me. Thank you for teaching me something new. All right. Anybody else have a question before we listen to the music and we're going to watch the score or look at the score after the music's done? No? All right. So let's cue up the video of your piece, and we'll listen, and then I'll put up the score for them to see after. I can't put them both up at the same time, unfortunately. And Google Meet has just changed this week, so I have to find where they put everything. Here it is. All right, so hopefully the sound isn't too bad on your end. If it is, feel free to mute yourself. You might want to do that until the video is over. But here we go. Let's watch Carmen Fratum Our Volume. And let me mute myself. Okay, so the sound on that one was not as good as on a couple of the other recordings, but we've heard the piece now 3 times. So did you hear the word triumph at the end? How the triumph, da da da, it went up very high. When you thought about writing that bit there, the word triumph, is there a reason that you said it the way you said it? Can you think back?
I just suppose.
I'm on mute. Did you? I don't know if you heard any of that.
Yes. Yeah. I heard.
Oh, okay.
Yes, absolutely. Of course, a triumph, which is it's funny because this is old Latin. The echo is really bad now.
Okay, let me mute myself again here. Hang on.
Okay. The triumph, of course, we really want this to be, well, triumphant, I suppose. It's sort of self-evident. But take a note that it's actually not, there's not an H, there's not a triumphe, there's not a PHE, it's just triumpe. This is Old Latin. And a lot of choirs don't actually notice that and sing triumphe, but it's actually triumpe. But it's the same word, of course. But also I had this choir, as I wrote this for as a commission, they had and have still a lot of good voices and a lot of high voices, so I wanted to use that. I knew I could do this for them, and they would be able to do a good performance.
Just a couple of other places in the piece. I'm going to scroll down and get to the beginning. There's something very unusual about Hildigunnur's writing here, something that is fairly uncommon for choirs. I guess if they do a lot of very modern music, it's not so uncommon. But for most high school choirs, middle school choirs, elementary school choirs, you don't see a lot of changing meter like this. So if you look at the beginning here, guys, most music we do is in 4/4. 4 beats per measure, and a quarter note or a long note get 1 beat. She wrote this, it's starting in 7/8. That means there are 7 beats in a measure, and an 8th note gets the beat every time. So it starts out in 7/8, it changes to 3/8, goes back to 7/8, 3/8, 7/8. So it's really an unusual tempo that you get the da 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 da. I'm wondering, Hildegunner, if you could say anything about why you might have set such an unusual rhythm or meter at the beginning of the piece.
Yes, absolutely. This is the core of the piece, really, because I chose this text. I'm not really religious, but I wanted to do a piece in Latin that wasn't necessarily out of the Bible, even though I've done a lot of religious music as well. But I chose this, and this is, as I said earlier, very old Latin. And I went to a considerable effort to figure out if somebody knew actually how the accents were supposed to be. So I'm writing this as it should be read. So enos lases juvate. Enos lases juvate, enos lases juvate. So that's basically 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3. It's because 7/8 is not actually a 7-beat bar, it's a 3-beat bar. So it's 1 2 3 1 2 1 2. So the beats aren't equally long.
So could you say that the text then that you used, you found the rhythm from the text, from the way you spoke it? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
I turn to my students and mention that. So see how she set that? It's just like what we've learned in setting your little sentences that you did for your homework, which a lot of you still need to get turned in before the end of the year, which is tomorrow. So, but that taking the words, even though it's in a foreign language, it's in Latin, it still has a rhythm of speech. And she used that, used the elements of music, meter and rhythm, to show the rhythm of the speech. So it's very similar to what you've done. Is there anything else you can think of while I'm trying to think of some questions about your piece that you want to share? The choir that commissioned it, which one was that? Which choir? Was it this one from Spain?
No, it's the Graduelle choir in Langholt Church in Iceland. My daughters were actually singing in the choir at the time. But then after that, it went to, well, we had the Australian performance, and that's actually a very known and an excellent choir. I don't know, you probably listened to that one from Sydney.
I believe we did. I believe we did. We listened to 3 different choirs now that performed the piece. How often does that happen, where you write a piece for a specific choir and then another choir picks it up and performs it? Is that I know it's a goal of a composer, but how often does that happen for you? Does that happen quite often?
Oh yes, a lot of the time. Very often in Iceland, but also abroad. I've had quite a few songs and pieces performed around the world, and I basically only write commissions because I don't have time, because I always have commissions going, so I don't really have time to write something just for and then write something and then go and ask some people if they'd like to perform it or something. So it sort of runs itself, fortunately.
That's a benefit of being an established composer. People know you, they come to you and ask you to write music for them, and they pay you to write. That's part of your job, right? So kids, that she makes some of her money, some of her income by writing music. People ask her to write it. It's called a commission. So she mentioned a commission. Okay, so that's what that's about. Paxton, do you have a question? We'll talk about that after. Now's not the time, Paxton. All right. Well, Hildigunnur, that's a very good description of what you do and your piece. I think that's pretty good stuff. I'm just curious if you wouldn't mind saying something in Icelandic, because my kids don't know that you speak a different language. English is really her second language, or maybe not even second. But what is can you give us something in Icelandic so we can hear what it sounds like?
Sure. Do you have something that just say a sentence and I'll just translate it, or should I just say something and then translate it afterwards?
Well, one of the big things is just simply saying good morning. We worked on that with Jamaica. We learned to say magwan, which is how you say good morning in Jamaican. So how do you say good morning?
Góðan daginn.
Can you say it one more time?
Góðan daginn.
They're trying it. They're trying it right now.
Yeah, actually, sometimes, because if we say it fast, some of my English friends have been laughing about if you say góðan daginn, góðan daginn. It almost sounds.
Yeah, I hear it. I hear what you're saying. All right. So, is there something else you'd like to hear in Icelandic, real quick? Oh, Nolan wants you just to say hi, Nolan. How would you say hello to Nolan? That's a boy's name.
That's basically almost the same. But we could actually maybe say hello, Nolan, or hi, Nolan. It's the same as in English.
Oh, those are kind of...
we say hello rather than hello, with an A rather than an E. Hello, hello, krakkar. Hi, kids. Hello, krakkar.
Let me just check with my kids online. Do any of you have a question you'd like to ask Hildigunnur before we go? No hands going up? Evie, you got anything you want to say? No? All right. All right. Well, Hildigunnur, I'd like to say thank you very much for coming in and joining us. I think this is really interesting. Hopefully my kids do. It is the day before we have 2 days left of school, so they're a little antsy today because they're out for just 2 days. But
definitely understand that. All the kids, basically, it was funny because we went to, me and my son, who's 21, we went shopping, and then he wanted to get an ice cream. So we drove by the ice cream shop, and there was a queue, like a long queue outside of the ice cream store, because I think schools just closed and every kid wanted to go and have an ice cream. So have a nice summer, summer kids. It's always nice to get the summer holiday, isn't it?
So I'm going to ask my kids to say "tak." That's how you say thank you, isn't it, in Icelandic? Everybody say "tak," Hildigunnur. I don't know if you could hear that, but thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate it a lot, and I'll talk to you. I'll text you later today on Facebook so we can just
Okay.
touch base again. Okay. All right. So thank you so much.
So bless, bless.
All right.
Bye-bye. Bless, bless.
Right back on. So just looking at this piece a little bit again, the meter that's going on there, the 7/8 thing happening. That's you know, it's pretty awesome that the text is responded to by the person that wrote the music, which is a lot like what you were asked to do. Now let me talk to you about your assignment.